All right, you ready for this? We're going to go from the top and record.
You're listening to Reading Between the Lines with your host, Drew Parker.
All right, my name is Drew Parker. I'm here with my guest, John Sterrett.
How's it going?
And our fact check extraordinaire. So, here we go.
Sweet. Get us started.
Sorry, I didn't name him. Scott Beal is his name. Sorry,
That's him.
I didn't think about saying his name. But just to start things off, let's hit on some big headlines from the week. Texas A&M pulled off a Falcons.
Even worse, actually.
Right. They blew a 44-10 third quarter lead. I believe it's the third largest comeback in NCAA history. Apparently 206 in the third quarter is the magic number because that is the same time that New England scored their first touchdown to come back against the Falcons.
Wow, really?
Josh Rosen went insane. He had 500 yards passing in the game. 4 touchdowns all in the fourth quarter alone. And Kevin Sumlin is now planted firmly on his hot seat like he already was. Just a nice little fun fact for you. There's a point in the game where their UCLA's percentage to win was 0.33%. So
wow.
You're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, Kevin Sumlin, after that post-game interview, he looked like the life was drained out of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like Cliff after that Iowa State game last year.
Right.
It was devastated.
Another one is Howard at UNLV. I'm sure somebody has heard about this. They paid Howard $600,000 to come and play them. You know how FBS teams will pay FCS teams to just come and get their tails kicked. But in this one, UNLV ended up on the wrong side of the ball. It is the largest point spread to be overcome in a victory in history. It was 45-point underdog, and Howard came back to win. Going into the game, they had a 1.2% chance to win. Ended up being 43-40 Howard. Another big game of the week. Turned out to be kind of a snoozer, but it was hyped like crazy. FSU Bama ended up being Bama 24-7.
I was definitely expecting a much closer game than that.
Yeah, so was I. As for Big 12 scores, I got some to run down for you. Oklahoma State beat Tulsa 59-24. Oklahoma beat UTEP 56-7. K-State beat Central Arkansas 55-19. Maryland beat Texas. Shout out to Maryland 51-41.
For real.
West Virginia was in a classic against Virginia Tech, but West Virginia fell short 31-24. Kansas gets their one and only win of the season over Southeast Missouri State by the score of 38-16. Baylor loses to Liberty, who is a first-year FBS team. They give up 48 at home. They lose 45-48. TCU kills Jackson State 63-0, and Iowa State beats Northern Iowa 42-24.
All right. Before you move on, which one of these upsets was the most crazy upset, the one that you expected the least to happen, and which one did you expect the most to happen out of those three?
Out of which three again?
The 3 Big 12 teams that lost.
I wasn't shocked by West Virginia because it was a good game. It was 21 against 22. I don't remember whose is ranked what, but they're one apart in the rankings.
Yeah.
So I wanted West Virginia to lose, obviously, because they're a Big 12 team. But I wasn't shocked by that. I was kind of shocked by Texas. I thought they were going to come in with a new Tom Herman regime and show that they have some grit to them. And Baylor. Oh my gosh! Talk about a team that just cannot find a way to just get on the right side of the headlines.
They struggled.
They waited all off season to get their football program back up running and try to redeem their trivial last season. Who gives up 48 points at home to a first year FBS team?
That's rough. I'd say that's even more rough than the UT loss
right.
Because, man, Baylor, they're supposed to have this great team with this great offense, and how did this defense fall apart like that?
Because Maryland with Texas Maryland's a quality team. I was thinking Texas was going to win at home, but Maryland's a quality team. As for the defense, which will be a huge story of this podcast, let's kind of run through how they rank nationally. They rank out of 128 teams. They rank 44th nationally. As compared to who we're playing in 2 weeks, Arizona State, they rank 103rd. Houston, because of Hurricane Harvey, did not play their first game. It was postponed. Not sure when it's going to be played now, but they did not play this last weekend. Texas, like we said, gave up 51 at home to Maryland. They ranked 92nd in the league in defense. Oklahoma State 81st, Kansas State 78th, and Oklahoma 12th. Oklahoma will always be up on the top.
Yeah, if you put Texas Tech just for the points allowed and the points scored, our offense is ranked 16 with 56 points a game, and defense is ranked 26, 10 points a game allowed.
Absolutely.
It's only been one game, but if that is any indication of this season, we're talking big things.
As for what we called last podcast, John called 38 points a game or less, and so far he's on the right side of the numbers.
I'm very pleased with that prediction now.
10 points against a quality FCS team. I don't care what you say about FCS now. They were a top FCS team, debatably better than Liberty, who Baylor lost to.
I'd agree.
As for the East Washington game, some overall stats, we ran more than we passed.
Yeah, it's exact opposite.
I'm just like,
I don't know how that's possible, but we did it.
We had 40 rushes for 177 yards, 35 pass attempts for 449. As far as allowing, Tech allowed 301 total yards, 81 rushing. I said in the last podcast that I wanted to have more than 150 yards rushing, which we did, and allowing less than 150, which we did, so I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see less passing yards allowed, but it's the first game. I'll take what I can get. As for Shimanek, our starting quarterback, he went 26 for 30 for 384 and 3 touchdowns. Not a bad start for the Shimmy era.
For real.
Carter went 3 for 3, 49 yards, a touchdown. Duffy went 2 for 2 and 16 yards. That doesn't include his scramble yards. He had some good scrambles. As for the receiving core, Willie's had 4 receptions, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Kiki Cutie had 5 receptions, 99 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Big day for him. Nisby averaging 9.5 yards per rush. 6 carries, 57 yards. Stockton right behind him. Less yards per play, but he had 8 carries for 47 yards, which averages out to 5.8 yards. Right,
I'll take that in any game.
It's. I said that you can't really take much out of an FBS opponent, but here we are.
Yeah, eat those words.
I'll gladly take those words. I called the 3 turnovers. I was happy with one of those was a pick 6. We got 7. We got 7 points out of it. It was a impressive game. And as for the Tech score, 56 points means there was $5,600 going to the Hurricane Harvey flood relief.
And Cliff matched that, so double that.
Absolutely. So that's good on them. Again, as I've heard lately, the floodwaters are receding, but it obviously is a long time for being cleaned up.
Yeah, I got some pictures recently. I'm from Houston, and I got some pictures. All the sheetrock and everything is pulled out of my house up to about 3 feet.
Yeah.
And parents are handling it well, but my sister is the one who documented it, so I was able to see that. And yeah, the road to recovery might be a long one for a lot of Houston, but there's also a lot of hope.
Absolutely. And the way people are coming out, and just pure love and the support is something is a sight for sore eyes in this day and age in this country. So happy to see that. But as for the Saturday game, I think it was a quality outing. Shimanek had some early rust, as you saw in the first 2 drives or so. But our defense, if this carries over for the season, who knows?
If we even resemble that kind of defense the whole season,
absolutely,
I will be excited.
It's it's just a double-edged sword because I don't want to be too excited because everything can change in 2 weeks. But as for the analytical side, what do you got over there, John?
Analytical side, there's a few things that I guess people that are just at the game watching might not have noticed. Clayton Hatfield, he has some sort of leg injury and may be out for a good chunk of the season. Cliff, in a post-game where he talked to the people post-game, he noted that Joe Wallace will probably redshirt this year, and he said that he just wasn't at the maturity or level that it needs. So there is a possibility there's something off the field that is causing that as well, but they did not redshirt him last year, and they're potentially redshirting him this year. So that's something that's pretty huge. Anything other than that, I'm not really sure about players in or out, but I wanted to see some Houston Miller. I didn't think we saw much of him in that game, if any. Okay, but yeah, Tony Jones, man, he showed out.
He did,
That
absolutely.
was something that may not show up a ton on the stat board, but that one time when he puts his hands up to block a ball is one thing, but to grab it, come down with it, and get the interception just off of a normal pass that would have been over him most times or most defenders, there is comparisons made between him and Pete Robertson, which is pretty high praise.
Yeah, it is. As for some little fun facts from the game Saturday, the last time Tech held their opponent to 10 or less was in 2013 against TCU. I believe that game ended 20-10.
Thank you, Scott, our stats analyst, for that. Yeah, bring him around.
Yeah, actually, the last time that Eastern Washington was held to 10 points or less was in 2010 versus Montana State. So it's been 7 years since those guys.
7 whole
have
years.
been held under 10 points. That's pretty significant to break a 7-year record. Like, that's pretty significant. Also, I looked it up. The last time that Tech held a team under 100 yards rushing was last year. I didn't know that. It was last year against Stephen F. Austin. We held them
Stephen
to
F.
actually
Austin.
less than we held Eastern Washington to. Eastern Washington, I believe, was 81 yards rushing. We actually held Stephen F. Austin to 58 yards rushing in that game.
I mean, I'll take the points anyway. I'll take the 10 over 17 points that they scored in that game as well. But that's pretty cool that our defense has held them to even less rushing yards than Eastern Washington.
It was fun to see. All the. There was a 4th and short that we stopped them on. I forget what part of the game, but I looked over at the sideline, and David Gibbs was getting so hyped. He was going nuts. And
He's like, who are these guys?
Right. and for a guy who again, I think I said this in the last podcast, is that we have not had a tenured DC for over 2.5 years since Ruffin McNeil, which he's
people were clawing to get him
absolutely.
back, like basically trying to get him back,
Yep.
and now we got a defense that.
And
Come on.
so I mean, you can't help but be happy about what David Gibbs has done. I'm hoping it translates to Arizona State.
And translates to wins.
Yes, absolutely. I'm looking forward to what I'm still gonna squat on my 7-5 prediction because I want to see this continue. But dare I say, we could. I don't want to say it. It's hard for me to say it, but we could be looking at the 8-4, 8-5. Hello, brain fart.
Are you saying 8 wins this season?
8-9 with that defense. Oh, it hurts me to say.
The optimism is seeping through the microphone right now.
As for our secondary, I did not see any horribly blown coverages. Granted, we were helped out a lot by drop passes. They had a lot of drop passes.
Man, there was a lot of receivers were not on the same page as Gabe.
Absolutely.
And so that's their quarterback, by the way.
And
he's just was very inconsistent in general.
Right. We forced 3 turnovers. That is, it was 2 fumbles and an interception. No, 2 interceptions and a fumble.
2 interceptions.
Because
and a
one
fumble.
interception came back
We
for
had
6.
We had the Tony Jones, the
Right.
Willie Sykes guys.
Yeah.
Willie, and then the one turnover that Jashawn Johnson forced, and then I think Douglas Coleman came up with it. It's pretty cool to see him strutting out of there with the ball.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to what this team has got. And as for the secondary is still concerned, a lot of sure tackling. There was a few times where they broke up a big pass play or a big run play, but I mean, you're at the course of a game, it's all a matter of trenches, and you can't win every play. I mean, I guess you could technically win every play, but it's every once in a while the offense is going to get you and they're going to break one. So I'm not too salty about that. So
For sure. So our Scott's analyst a second ago brought up Dominic Panazzolo on his computer. Tell me about him and the impact he had even in this first game.
you want me to hand it over to Scott or?
Well, you can. Whoever got it.
Yeah, I mean, we only got to see Dominic do 3 kicks. So it was not
2 of those were pretty good.
It's not a great sample size, but from what we saw, it was really encouraging to see him come back because his first kick was only 21 yards. I think he might have shanked it off the side of his foot or something. He actually ended up on R39, so it was great starting field position. for Eastern Washington. But that's also where the fumble occurred, so we were able to get back. So it was great to see that the defense wasn't, getting on him, or the team was really just rallying around him. His next 2 punts on the Eastern
check this out.
Washington 7 and the Eastern Washington 4-yard
Downing
line.
it
This cat
inside
put
the
him
10.
on the inside the 10 twice.
Man, the momentum just from those kicks alone is going to be a difference this season.
It was a 36-yard punt, so he's got good control, and a 53-yard punt.
Yeah,
so he's
53,
got
54.
great control on that. It was a thing. It was really encouraging to see him come back.
Sweet. And not too shabby as well. I think he's a walk-on freshman, Michael Uton, 8 for 8 on extra points. And that's just what we need, consistency on extra points.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Well, so that kind of covers Tech. Sorry, I'm not talking to the mic. There we go.
There you go.
We excited, but we'll reassess as of about 11 p.m. in 2 Saturdays from now when the Arizona State's game's over. I mean, I don't want to get into too many predictions, but I have a much better feeling about that game now than I did 48 hours ago. But as for a little pro talk, since we are coming into week 1 of the National Football League schedule, the Dallas Cowboys play the New York Giants. John, are you a Cowboys fan or are you a Texans fan?
I'm a Texans fan. I'm sorry.
Shun.
From Houston, you know.
I know, but come on, you
Home
gotta learn
team.
better than that. Who do y'all play the first week? Do you know?
No, I'm not as an avid professional fan.
Bandwagoner. Kidding.
No, actually, I think we play the Jaguars.
There's nothing to bandwagon. You can only bandwagon if you're good, right? Hey-yo.
Yeah. There's no bandwagon happening yet.
But
We'll see.
the Cowboys play the Giants week 1. And the Zeke thing is still up in the air. They're saying that if he is on the roster without being suspended by 3 p.m. on Tuesday Dallas time, then he will be able to play in week 1.
Okay.
Now, if we have Zeke week 1, I think we win that game. Without him, I don't think we win. But as for the appeal process, there was a big story that came out. I think it was Friday because I was listening to the podcast in class. Shame on me, I don't care. But they were saying that there was a lead investigator in the Zeke case, and she was the one person who actually interviewed Zeke, and there was a deliberate. What's the word? There was a deliberate effort to keep her out of the meeting room with Roger Goodell. So they have a big PR ordeal coming at them because
it's all about protecting that shield for
right.
sure.
It's the fact that you keep the one person who recommended no punishment for Zeke out of the room, not diligently, deliberately. There we go.
There we go.
Messing up words. That could be big. So I don't know when we're going to hear a ruling. They said maybe by the end of today. We're recording this on Labor Day, but we'll come 3 p.m. tomorrow. If he's not suspended, he's on the roster. So that'll be something to watch for sure.
Yeah, there's going to be something that has to come down before then.
I would certainly hope not.
Quick prediction. What's going to happen?
In the game or in the...
To the Zeke case.
They're saying with this new development...
Yeah, it sounds like it's looking better at least.
It's looking like it could go down to 0.
Could go down to 0.
I say that with bated breath. But, because either it's going to go down to 0 or the Cowboys are going to take it to court. So either way, I think he's going to start the first game because either it goes down to 0, so he's not suspended at all, or he or the court process takes him into the season. And we all know from Tom Brady, as long as you're in court, you can still play. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of I'm looking forward to week 2 of the college football season. Do y'all have any anticipated games you're looking at for next week? I know Tech has a bye week, but just want to give y'all thoughts about what y'all might be watching next weekend.
I actually had a quick question for you, Drew. Is there any new draft picks that you think for the Cowboys that may be shining in this game? Maybe have a breakout first few games, maybe in a breakout season.
Maybe a Taco.
Taco's good. He seemed a little bit lost in the preseason. Granted, everybody seems lost in the preseason. He was beat on a lot of seemingly easy stunts. As for draft picks, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge draft guy. I'm a big draft guy in terms of seeing where college kids go, but I'm not big on following draft picks to the teams that they go to. If that makes any sense. Like obviously Big 12 players that we've come to know and love and / hate whoever team they're on. College players who we've come to know over the years of watching them. I follow where they go, but I don't really follow where they go afterwards. So I can't really speak a whole lot about rookies coming out.
Yeah, it's fun to see those first steps as they step into the NFL,
right.
even if they're from a rival team, to see if
Right,
they'll fail.
absolutely. But I hope when Pete Ryan fails and Joe Mixon fails and D.D. Westbrook fails, but I'm not biased at all. Nah.
I think he likes OU or something. Yeah.
Okay, over my dead body, it's like tell me I'm going to UT. That ain't gonna happen.
Hey, fun fact: our Scott, our stats analyst, actually went to high school with P. Ryan. Samaje P. Ryan.
That's disgusting.
So I think he's for him. But
yeah,
Are you really?
He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. So.
All right, well, now you can't hate him as much, I guess. but Mixon, you can hate all you want.
Right.
Yeah.
So any marquee games y'all looking at when we have no tech football to watch?
Well, I mean, it's been all over ESPN, the Ohio State-Oklahoma game this week, and you brought it up earlier before the podcast. It's going to be crazy. There's going to be a loud environment. Where is it? Do you know?
In Columbus.
In Columbus.
Is it the Horseshoe? Is that where they play?
It's a huge stadium.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's gonna be. Sorry, I had to pull it up really quick. It wasn't ready. There's a few games that I'm looking forward to. I think that the Stanford USC that is a awesome week 2 matchup because I don't know if y'all watched any of Stanford. You think USC might blow them out? Not if they looked like they did.
Right,
Sam Darnold,
right.
He was struggling something mighty. He can come back. I don't doubt that. But y'all, I don't know if y'all saw Stanford versus Rice or listened to any of the highlights. That is a team right there.
Really?
That is
Rice?
a big. No, Stanford.
Oh, okay.
That is a team right there. I know they were just playing Rice, and Rice had a lot on their minds, with Hurricane Harvey and everything that was going down in Houston. But I mean, there was nothing going on. Stanford is a group of men for sure. But actually, the marquee game that I'm really looking forward to actually is not a top 25 matchup. Actually, neither of these teams are ranked. Is actually the Holy War.
Holy War.
Holy War. BYU versus Utah. If listeners or if y'all have never seen highlights from BYU versus Utah, look them up.
Game every year.
That is one of the top 5, if not top 3, college football rivalries ever. Like, they hate each other, and it is just to watch them play is just awesome. It's like Ohio State and Michigan or Alabama and Auburn. It is a very fought game, very well fought game.
Sweet.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a cool matchup.
Nothing better than watching a good scrum on the sidelines, right?
And by the way, Scott, did you have Utah or BYU winning that game?
I'm gonna have to go with BYU.
BYU, okay.
BYU.
Okay.
I'd take that too.
I think they're about 8-14 this year.
Okay.
So they like to challenge themselves.
Not bad.
Yeah, they're pretty disciplined as well, from what I've seen.
Well, you got any final thoughts, John?
It was really good to see some football back in action.
It was,
and
absolutely.
That was the biggest thing I pulled out of it. Football is back. We get to enjoy our Saturdays again.
There's nothing better than college football because like last night, I was getting hyped watching that UCLA game. Josh Rosen put himself on the Heisman conversation with that game. Other than that, I'm going to do a little shameless plug here. Anybody listening to this anybody listening to this who is free on Thursday nights, you should come by the Wesley. We have our weekly I'll probably be doing this every week because the Wesley's awesome, but we have our weekly worship service called the Underground every Thursday at 8 o'clock. It is at 2420 15th Street behind the Alamo, behind the Valero, across the university from campus. It's a fun time. You got a little worship and just hanging out. So if you want to get your Jesus on and meet some friends that are going to be with you for life, come by. Always welcome. We'll make you feel loved, and can always get something that I'm blanking on. But anyway, it's a good time.
Always a good time.
All
yeah.
right.
Home away from home.
Absolutely. So, but other than that, I I guess we're done here. As for Reading Between the Lines, I am Drew Parker.
And I'm John Sterrett.
And we have I'll let him say bye, but we have our fact-checking extraordinaire, Scott Beal.
And this is Scott Beal.
This is Scott Beal saying bye.
All righty. And you've been
Thank you,
listening to
Scott.
Reading Between the Lines. Thank you. Bye.